Deep in ancient legends, a dark spirit named Valak took on the form of a nun, spreading fear and chaos. This true story reveals how this evil entity became one of horror's most iconic characters, haunting the lives of those who encountered her. Get ready to explore the chilling origins of the terrifying figure from the Conjuring movies. Before we begin, I request you to hit the subscribe button. We would love to hear where you're watching from. Please share your country and current time in the comments. The demon Valak first appeared in The Conjuring, where Lorraine Warren manages to banish it back to hell by using its name. In The Nun, another film in the Conjuring series, a Romanian monastery is haunted by a demonic figure in a nun's attire. Both storylines have roots in reality. Lorraine Warren was a real paranormal investigator who encountered a dark presence in a church. She and her husband, Ed Warren, a self-proclaimed demonologist, gained fame after their investigation of the notorious Amityville haunting in 1976. Lorraine Warren said that she could see auras around people ever since she was 7 or 8 years old. She was scared if she told her parents they'd think she was crazy, so she kept her powers to herself. But when she met her husband Ed Warren when she was 16, he knew there was something different about her. Ed himself said he grew up in a haunted house and was a self-taught demonologist as a result. While many later claimed the eerie events at Amityville were a hoax, the 1977 book, The Amityville Horror, and the 1979 film brought the Warrens into the public eye. Throughout their careers, they claimed to have investigated over 10,000 cases of paranormal activity, driven by their strong Catholic faith. The couple's son-in-law, Tony Spera, stated that the phantom nun in The Nun resembles a real ghost the Warrens encountered during a visit to the haunted Borley Church in southern England in the 1970s. After hearing about strange occurrences at the church, such as bells ringing unexpectedly, tales of a headless monk believed to have left mysterious messages on the walls, and sightings of a ghostly nun wandering at night, the Warrens brought several photographers along to try to capture evidence of the spirit. They ultimately came face to face with the churchyard's ghost, said to be a nun who was buried alive in the convent's brick walls centuries ago after having an affair with a monk. "I feel the presence of a nun in this church," Lorraine reportedly told the group as they entered the church around midnight. "It was completely dark, with no candles or lights in sight." Photographers used a 35mm camera loaded with infrared film to take pictures. When the images were developed, a spectral nun was seen walking down the aisle, seemingly in prayer. According to tradition, a local monk in Borley, a tiny rural community of 3 hamlets in Essex, began a secret affair with a nun from a nearby convent. When their superiors discovered the affair, the couple faced severe punishment. The monk was quickly executed, while the nun endured a far worse fate, being bricked up in the convent walls to suffocate and die. Fortunately for them, this story appears to be nothing more than local legend, with no historical evidence to support it. No religious orders were harmed in the creation of this ghost tale. Despite the monk and nun story being debunked, it inspired many future investigations, reports, and claims of paranormal activity. Reports of Borley's ghosts first surfaced in 1863, when school children claimed to have seen the ghost of a nun. In 1900, another group of children reported seeing a nun's ghost in the Rectory grounds, which vanished as they approached. In 1927, the Reverend Guy Eric Smith and his wife moved into the Rectory, marking the beginning of a modern haunting. Shortly after their arrival, his wife discovered the skull of a young woman in a cupboard, which is believed to have triggered supernatural activity in the house. Following this discovery, numerous paranormal events were reported, including strange lights, unexplained footsteps, and sightings of a ghostly horse-drawn carriage nearby. The couple reached out to the Daily Mirror, expressing their intention to contact the Society for Psychical Research, SPR. However, when tabloids get involved, questions often arise about the individual's motivations, the desire for publicity, and the authenticity of their claims. This tension between fame and sincerity would haunt Borley throughout its infamous history. In response to the couple's claims, the Mirror sent a reporter along with Harry Price, a paranormal researcher known for investigating mediums, psychics, and seances. Shortly after Price arrived, the unexplained phenomena in the house intensified. He documented his dramatic encounters, detailing spirit messages and objects hurled by invisible forces. Strikingly, the disturbances ceased when he left. By June 1929, the Smith family departed Borley, making way for the Reverend Lionel Algernon Foister, his wife Marianne, and their daughter Adelaide in October 1930. It was this family, particularly Marianne, who would become closely associated with the haunting events. Over their 5 years in the house, the Foisters experienced a range of supernatural occurrences, which the Reverend meticulously documented. This extensive report was later submitted to Harry Price, deepening his interest in the enigmatic happenings at Borley. The Reverend's report detailed a range of alarming incidents, such as broken windows, strange writing on the walls, their daughter being locked in a room with no key, and objects like bottles and stones being hurled throughout the house. Marianne added to this account, sharing experiences that surpassed anything previously documented. She seemed to be at the heart of the most intense poltergeist activity, claiming to have been violently tossed from her bed and periodically attacked by an invisible force. After reviewing the Reverend's report, Price was both intrigued and concerned. He attempted to perform exorcisms on the house twice, but his efforts were futile. The disturbances persisted. Price's 1929 reports captured widespread public interest, leading to a surge of amateur reporters and psychical researchers visiting the Rectory to investigate the phenomena for themselves. The mysterious, illegible writing that appeared on the Rectory walls has become one of the most lasting symbols of the Borley saga, continuing to intrigue people even today. The Foister family left Borley in 1935, and the house remained vacant for a short time. In 1937, Harry Price moved in for a year, enlisting 48 individuals, mainly students, to assist in his investigations of alleged paranormal activity. He conducted numerous experiments, including large seances with various mediums. Notably, in 1938, medium Helen Glanville claimed to have contacted a nun and an unidentified male spirit, the latter predicting that the Rectory would be destroyed by fire on March 27, 1938. Remarkably, both the spirit and the medium were closer to the truth than one might expect. On February 27, 1939, as Captain W.H. Gregson moved into the Rectory, an oil lamp was knocked over, igniting a fire that consumed the house. Although initially reported as an accident, the insurance company concluded that Gregson's actions were intentional. The Rectory was left in ruins and never rebuilt. Despite renaming it the Priory, Gregson aimed to profit from the property's haunted history, but he never achieved this goal. Despite the destruction caused by the fire, Harry Price was undeterred in his quest to uncover the mysteries of Borley. After examining Marianne's wall writings, he believed they indicated the presence of a buried body. Returning to the site, he excavated the cellar and discovered bones he thought belonged to the nun, haunting the house. However, these turned out to be pig bones, not human remains. Undaunted, Price maintained his narrative and continued to promote Borley's story. While the local vicar refused to permit a Christian burial for the bones, the church in nearby Liston allowed it. In official reports from Price's contemporary website and his book The End of Borley Rectory, 1946, the nature of the burial differs wildly from the pig bone furore of elsewhere. The bones, part of a human jaw and a skull, popularly thought to be the mortal remains of Marie Laer, the ghost nun who haunted, still haunts. The Rectory site were placed in a wooden box and lowered into a small hole dug by the rector earlier in the day. As the saga of Borley came to a close, the questions lingered in the air. Did a ghostly nun ever truly roam the halls of the Rectory? Were the unexplained phenomena a result of restless spirits, or merely the product of imagination and sensationalism? Despite the revelations and the eventual discrediting of some claims, the legend of Borley continues to captivate and intrigue. What do you believe? Is there a lingering presence in that haunted place, or was it all a figment of the collective psyche? The answer may lie in your own interpretation of the eerie tales that surround the mysterious and eerie character, the nun.